they're talking about making machines sentient, meaning consciousness, meaning alive. They think that these things can be possible. I don't know if those things are possible. Actually, I'm leaning on the side of no, they're not. I don't think we will ever be able to replicate that, but I could be wrong. I brought in Max Egan to talk about it. Mr. Egan, no need for introductions, but I've done it anyway. Say hello to Iconic and America Unplugged. How are you?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. Thanks for having me on, and hi, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, the whole concept of sentient AI, it's an interesting thing, you know. As I've often said when I've been talking about this on the shows, you know, when we think of AI and artificial intelligence, what we should really be thinking about is autonomic intelligence and autonomic virtual life is what I've been saying. You know, can something become sentient or conscious? There's a possibility that it could, but will it have a soul? Will it have the possibility or the capability of feeling real emotion? That's the question. It might understand what emotion is, but it wouldn't possibly be able to have empathy because, you know, empathy comes from personal experience. And, of course, a robot can never have personal experience. I mean, even if it had sensors in its body that could detect something that it would determine as pain or whatever, it's still not the same. So, you know, whatever the life that was created, you know, if it was sentient, whatever type of so-called sentient life was created in AI form, it's never going to be human, and it's never going to be fully human. It's never going to fully comprehend the human experience or be in any position where it should be able to govern or determine what happens in the human experience because it can't. It's not going to be possible to ever be able to relate.
Yeah, you know. So, I don't think that, you know, and this word, right, like life or alive or conscious, right, we really don't even know what consciousness is. We can't explain it. We don't know where it comes from. How are we going to create it? And I get we can get, you know, these machines to feel certain things or program them to do certain things and retain information. So now what they're talking about is transplanting consciousness, right? When someone dies, you know, their consciousness will be transplanted into a robot or a clone body or something. In my opinion, Max, and correct me if I'm wrong or if you feel differently. I don't think you do, but if you do, that's fine. That person, wherever your thoughts and your feelings and your history is being transplanted into, that vessel will never really be you. It's just a completely different thing altogether, in my opinion. Go ahead.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You know, and that would be the ultimate slavery system, wouldn't it? To be locked into a mainframe and never be able to die, even if you wanted to. I mean, that would be an absolute nightmare. I mean, yeah, and that's kind of where they want to go. And is that possible? Well, yeah, it is. I mean, if you think about it, if you think about DNA, and what your DNA is simply like an antenna that harvests a frequency from the field. If you understand the concept that your consciousness is not local to your body, it exists in the surrounding field. And your DNA simply harvests that frequency and pulls it into you, and that's Billy Ray. I harvest a different frequency and pull it into me, and that's Max. But ultimately, it comes from the same source. But if you've got something that could mimic that DNA strand and mimic that antenna frequency, what would prevent them from harvesting that frequency and bringing it into a mainframe?